Hello everyone, it's Alexandra. Today we will begin to assemble the page number 2 from our Antique Fashion mini book. This is how the page will look like. Let me show you which sheets from the printables you are going to need. You are going to need one of the leftover pieces from yesterday, this one. Then the next one will look like this, and this will form the base page, number 2 in our book. The next page has the needle book and some other elements that I think we can also cut out. Why not? Then from this page, we're mainly going to need the pocket and the card, but we will also go ahead and cut out the remaining elements on this page. From page that looks like this, you are going to need mainly the curved pocket and the horizontal pocket, also the 3 spools and both of the tabs. And we are also going to fussy cut the rest of the elements on the page. All of the fussy cuts that we're not using yet will go into this envelope. The next page looks like this, and from this one, for today, we're only going to need the advertising card with the Singer sewing machine. And then from the page that looks like this, we're going to need the advertising card that is in this top right corner. Before we get down to it, I also want to mention a few things regarding a freebie, because I received a question from Patty, and Patty was asking if the freebie was an add-on to the actual kit. So the answer is not really. Although you can use the cards that you're going to make with the help of the freebie in the album, they do fit in terms of size. You can see that you can put them in some of the pockets of the mini book. They are not really intended for this specific project. They were kind of a standalone piece. Of course, you are welcome to use them in the book, because I want to remind you that in the very back of our book, we have a great size folder that can hold all of the cards that you're going to make with the freebie, and also the things that I planned to have in this folder. Regarding the journaling pages that are included in the freebie, you can also use them for your mini book project. And for example, if you trim them just a little bit on this side, they can even fit into the booklet that we have created in our previous tutorial. Fold them like this. As you can see, I printed mine just on both sides and cut them apart, and also added some of the labels that were included with the freebie, and also added these ladies on some of the pages. And then you can, by all means, use them in the pages of the little booklet. Since the page number 2 is not very difficult to assemble, and it doesn't include a ton of elements, I think that we might have some time to cut out all of the cards that will go inside our pages, these ones. Hopefully we will have enough time for that. From the tools that we're going to need today, of course, the main ones are the ruler, the craft knife, and the self-healing mat, the glue, the scissors. Then I think I already mentioned 2-inch circle punch or a 2-inch circle die. Then we're also going to need the 1.5-inch circle punch. We are going to need some threads and a piece of acetate for adding it to the opening of one of the pockets. And of course, the usual suspects, the bone folder and the distress ink. I think I will start with the leftover sheet of paper from before, like so, and then I will do the same with the small card. And now when that is done, I'm sure you guess what we should do. Just fold them in half, glue them down together, and distress the edges. As usual, don't forget that you need to make sure that the corners meet nicely when you fold the cards together. And they are ready. I will set them aside for now and move on to the page that looks like this. I will repeat the same steps for assembling the large journaling card. Here we go. We will set this one aside as well. And we will move to the base page elements. Now let's take a scoreboard and the piece with the flaps and make sure that we place the paper on top of the scoreboard so that one of the grooves of the scoreboard is right below this white line between the flap itself and the main pattern of the page, and score a line there, and then rotate the piece and do the same for the white line on the opposite side. Let's fold the flaps in and make sure that we position the pages in the same direction of the pattern. Glue them down together like so. When you glue both of the pieces together, make sure to line them up first along one of the long edges, and then also pay attention to the top and the bottom, that they are more or less straight. And this is how it will look like. Now we can add the glue to the flap at the bottom and finish assembling the base page number 2. Now you remember that on one of the edges I inked the paper, so this time it will be along this edge here, because from this side it will be attached to our mini book binding. Next, we are going to get back to the pocket here. We're going to cut around it. You can either use a scoreboard for scoring the flaps, or you can use your ruler and a needle tool. Just like I showed you before, what we need to do is to fold the flaps in and ink the edges of the pocket before we cut out the opening. For cutting out the opening, we're going to use our 1.5 inch circle punch, and with the flaps folded in, I'm going to put the paper into the paper punch and line the edge of the opening with the edge of the punch, and then punch through, and then do the same on the opposite side. Cut off that little piece of paper at the bottom and at the top of the opening. And now we can also ink the edge of the opening. And we're going to add some acetate there. I have a piece which seems like it will be enough for covering the opening of the pocket. So in the back, I'm going to put it almost to the very end of the pocket itself, so that it reaches the flap. And then I will use well, I will take a Sharpie and just make a mark on the right hand side and also at the top, and that's where I will need to cut my piece. So I will trim along those marks, and let me just measure this piece again and tell you. Okay, so mine is 4¼ on the long side by 2¼ on the short side. Now I have to put it back and make some marks for the curved corners so that I know how to cut it before gluing it down. And we can, at this point, just take the glue. I'm using the art glitter glue. The art glitter glue proved itself to work quite good with the acetate, so I'm going to use that one. And since the acetate is covering almost all of the area of the pocket, I'm just going to apply the glue almost everywhere in the back. And now I will put the acetate back where it should be. And now we can go ahead and glue it in place on this side of our base page. And just as before, I'm going to glue the pocket to the base page only by the bottom flap for now. You will have to glue it down right along the bottom edge of your base page, and then the image that you see on the base page will be visible through the opening in the pocket. In the left and right corner, I want to add little pieces of clear tape, and that again, just for making it easier to slide our card inside the pocket. See how it looks? I think it's okay. Now let's just add some glue to the side flaps of the pocket and glue everything down. So the pocket on the reverse side of our page is ready. We will flip it to the front side and get back to the page that looks like this. We are going to cut out the curved pocket and the small horizontal pocket that we have at the bottom of the page. Now, when you cut out the curved pocket, use your ruler and a craft knife for cutting along the straight edges that this pocket has first. And then just cut out roughly the pocket so that you can separate it from the rest of the page. And use your scissors for cutting along the curved edge of the pocket. The same thing here, you can use either your scoreboard or a needle tool and a ruler for scoring on top of the white lines on both of the pockets and then folding the flaps in. Try not to scratch the paper too much when you score with your needle tool. That's why you should try and keep it as parallel to the working surface as possible. Both of these pockets will first of all be glued down together, and then both of them will go on top of our base page number 2 like that. I prefer to glue the pockets together first. Don't forget about the pieces of tape that we have to add on top of the flaps at the bottom so that we can slide whatever ephemera we have easier into those pockets. So I have glued down the smaller pocket by its bottom flap to the curved pocket. I will take a piece of clear tape and glue it on top of the bottom flap. And now I will add the glue to the side flaps and glue the pocket down. Now we will do the same. We will take our base page. I will apply the glue to the bottom flap only, line it up with the bottom edge of the base page. Okay. Make sure that you have a straight edge here on the left hand side where the page will be attached to the binding later. Now let's take another piece of clear tape, glue it down on top of the flap. I usually try to center the tape on top of the flap, and it doesn't have to go from the very edge to the opposite edge. Add the glue to the remaining flap and attach our pocket to the base page. I didn't add a flap on this side of the pocket because I wanted to have more room in it. If the fact that it's not attached on this side bothers you, you can add a very thin line of glue and attach the pocket to the page. But if not, it can stay like this, and I think it's also okay. Now let's return to the page with the tabs and the spools. I am sure that you already know how to assemble the spools. Let me just show you here that since we have 3 of them and they're lined up, we can cut around all 3 of them like so, still using the cut boxes, but not separating the spools apart. And then you can fold the paper and make sure that you fold it nice because it will be against the fibers of the paper. So you might need to fight with it just a little bit, but make sure that the corners meet of the whole piece. And then you can add the glue to all 3 of the spools at once instead of gluing each and every one of them separately. I think it will be more efficient to do it that way. And then you will already be able to cut them apart using your scissors. And don't forget to ink the edges of these on both sides. I will not show this time how to add the thread because I have already covered this step in the previous part of the tutorial. So I'm going to add my thread to each one of the spools and get back to you. My spools are filled with thread now, and I planned to slide them into this little pocket here. We can cut out the tabs next. We will also use the cut box around them. I think that, as a matter of fact, we can even cut along the long edges of the tabs like so. And then we have to fold the paper together. You can just use your scissors and cut along the curved edges of the tabs. And since it is a mirrored image, you will have a perfect cut in the back side of the tab as well. I think I will cut the tabs out, and I will have to go and check what Chloe wants, because I am at the moment alone at home, so she has no one else to go to. These are our tabs. Let's not forget to ink them. And here is the one who was complaining. Yes, Chloe? Let me show her to you. Here she is. Chloe, Do you have to say anything? Do you want to say hello to everyone? You will be with me here now? Yeah? Yeah? Running after the needle from the bottle of glue? Yeah? Or the paper? What do you prefer? For these cards are intended the tabs that we have cut out, and one of the tabs will go on the right hand side of one of the cards, and then the second one will be attached on the left hand side. And you can offset it closer to the top, I guess. I just wanted the tab to be between the images on this side. So this card will slide into the pocket in the back of the page, and everything will look like this. Next, let's cut out the advertising card that we have here. Now let's fold our card in half, and as usual, glue the inside and ink the edges. We will place this card into the little pocket on the front of the page, like so. Let's work with the needle book next. We are going to cut along the edges of the cut box, and then we will have to fold the paper piece like so. Always look at the corners. And then unfold and fold again in this direction. Use your bone folder to make the process way easier. Now this is what we have. I want you to flip the paper to the reverse side so that the word needles is on your left hand side. And then I want you to look at the fold line that you have. I will just use my pencil and sketch a line right on top of the fold so that you see it better. Now we will need to cut a little bit further from the fold to the left from the center fold line that we have. Okay, once again I'm showing you how the parts are positioned, and then I will flip the page like so and cut a little bit away from the fold, or in my case from the pencil line, again up to the fold line that we have created in the center. Now we can just get rid of this paper piece, and this is how it will be done, more or less. Now you can see that we will have some paper showing through the cut area on this side. So we will just take some ink and ink right on top of that fold. Why we do it like that and not just glue everything right away without cutting two of these parts apart? Because if you do that, your paper will start to warp because it's too thick, and we will have here how many four layers of it, right? So to prevent the warping, we are doing the cut between these paper layers. Now what's left is only to see. Okay, so against the light, I can see that my glue has to go up to here. I don't need it in the corners because the corners will be cut off. But if you want, you can add the glue there as well. And don't add the glue too close to the fold, to the inked fold, because we don't have any paper there. Okay, so I will glue this section down first, and then I will do the same on the opposite side. When you glue these halves to the uncut half of your paper, make sure that you still line up all the corners. Although the fold lines will guide you to the exact placement of the paper, but still. Okay, now we can, I don't know, maybe we will be able to cut through all 4 layers of the paper at once. I think I will be able to do that. My scissors, again, are very sharp, so they do allow me to do that, but I think I will have to do it in sections like so, just bit by bit, cutting little areas off, and then keep on cutting around that edge. And you can see that since everything is perfectly lined up and mirrored, you will have a great matching outline of your needle book. Ink around that edge and add our needle book to one of the pockets. Our envelope with the rest of the fussy cuts will also stay here for now. In the back, I had the round advertising card clipped with the help of the paper clip to the journaling card inside the pocket. Let's get back to that element now. Here it is. I will first cut it out along the edges of the cut box. Okay, now if you have a 2-inch circle die like this one, then you will fold the paper piece in half, glue it down, and then die cut using the die and your die cutting machine. If you don't have the die, but you do have the punch, you will have to, before punching out each one of the circles separately, just make sure that you mark the direction of these 2 circles. If you want to cut around them using the scissors, then also glue them down together first and then cut around. Now, I think that I'm going to use the die. I can clip it somewhere on this side. I thought that it could look nice. Our second page is done. I want to get back to the cards with the buttons here. I will cut them out. I will distress the edges with some ink, and then I will use the glossy accents and add it on top of each one of the tiny buttons and set it aside to dry. We're going to use them later, I think on page number 4, if I'm not mistaken, so they will just wait for their turn to be used. Let me show these to you closer. They're not dry yet, but they already look so cute. I love these. And I will keep on fussy cutting all of the little elements that I have here. Now let's work on the cards for our pocket pages. On 2 out of 5 pages we have also tabs, and on the remaining 3 we have some labels, and here we have 2 dress forms that you will simply need to fussy cut. Now let's work with this page right here. I am going to cut out the card first, like so. You will do the same with all 5 of the cards. Now, as for the tabs, let's cut along the short edge first, at the top and at the bottom. Pay attention that I'm not separating the tabs yet. Now I will cut along the long edge on both sides. Right along the edge, you will line the ruler at the top and at the bottom. And this should work for the tab which is in the center, in between. Now let's separate each one of the tabs. Fold them in half. Each one of them will have to be folded in half, and when you fold in half, make sure that the corners meet. Next, I'm going to use my corner rounder, the 1/4 inch radius, and just round the corners of each one of the tabs like so. Do the same with the card and the tabs on this page. Okay, so here are my 5 cards, and here are my tabs. So the one that says pull, I will set aside. I will just ink along the bottom edge of the tab, and I will do this, as a matter of fact, on all 5 of the remaining ones. Here are all 5 of my cards, and it doesn't matter in which order you want to have them in your book. I'm going to attach the tab with the card number 1 on it onto my first card, and that tab will be attached in the top right corner of the card. So how you do that? You see how we have a tab going at an angle right from this area here. So that means that I can use this space on the inside of the tab, of course, for adding a bit of glue, just like so, and then lining the tab with the edge of the card below it, so that the edge of the card is lined up with the sections of the tab before they start to angle. Then once it's glued down along that little area, I can go ahead and add the glue in the back to the second half of the tab, glue it down, and now use my scissors and trim the remaining paper. And the scissors with sharp tips will be very helpful here, because you will need to get into the very corner of the tab there. Now you will take the next card, and you will take the tab number 5 from the ones that you have, and you will do the same. Just apply some glue on the tab like so, and then line it up with the bottom corner of the card. Again, just making sure that you line up the edge of the card with the sections of the tab where they do not angle yet. So our card number 5 is also ready. Now we will have to take the next card, put it on top of the 2 previous ones, and also we will take the tab with the card number 3. We need to find more or less the center between the 2 tabs that we have already attached. So using the lines on your mats can be helpful for that. I will take the next card. Let's say it will be this one. I will put it on top, and I will take the tab with the card number 2, and then I will have to do the same thing, but now I will have to position my next tab between the tabs from the card number 1 and card number 3, but the process is the same. Let's just eyeball where it needs to be. Let's say here, more or less, or you know what? We can even do this so that we can see better what we are doing. So I trimmed just a little bit from that cream paper so that I can see, based on those angled sections of the tab, I can see if it falls more or less between the neighboring tabs. And I think it does. So I can now just glue the back and cut off the excess paper. Okay, so card number 1, card number 2, number 3, number 5. I think they line up really good. So here is our last card that will get the tab number 4. And I will already now cut the corners off of this tab and add the glue. Take the whole stack of the cards and glue down my tab number 4 between the 3rd and 5th. If the scissors that you have do not have thin blades like mine, I think you can also try and cut at least the angles, at least the sides of the tab with your craft knife. Yeah, I didn't think about that before, but now that we're working on the tabs again, I think it could work. And then the rest already can be trimmed with the scissors. Let's have another look at the cards. Yeah, I think they're lined up nicely. Just a bit of ink needs to be added here. And all of them are ready to be used inside the pockets. So this is our page number 2. We will put the card number 2 in it. And then the card number 1 will go into the page that we have created in the previous tutorial. 2 pages of our book are now assembled and 3 more are on the way. Let me know if you had any questions for today, and I will see you back in a few more days for the page number 3. Thank you and talk to you soon.